Hi there, good day. Otis Justine here, coming to you from Falls Church, Virginia, and I am with Army Medicine. And we've got a discussion today with Captain Holly Weaver from the 5th Medical Recruiting Battalion out of San Antonio, Texas. And we have a wonderful guest today. We've got Major Jody Stoffer from the Kansas City Medical Recruiting Station out there in Kansas City. So I hope you enjoyed today's discussion, and here we go. And I'd like to add on to our discussion panel today, Captain Holly Weaver.
Hey,
what's going on? Hey, Holly, how are you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you today, Otis?
I'm doing fine, doing blessed. Just thankful that I can continue doing our podcast, whether it be weekly, bi-weekly, or whatever. I know we've got a very important month this month, being Women's History Month. And I'm thankful for the chance to work with you, and of course, work with the major that I've worked with when I was with Recruiting Command, Major Stoafer. But I know you're appreciative of this day today.
Absolutely. I just want to say, thanks again, Otis. I mean, I truly appreciate our collaboration. The fact that we're still doing these live streams and, collaborating together, even though you're over at Army Medicine working for OTSG. And I'm working for recruiting. I think that we are combining the best of both worlds. We are honoring and celebrating Army medicine officers and just showing the force, the amazing things that they are doing, as well as on the recruiting side of the house, we are showing our future soldiers, our leads, the people that are interested in joining Army medicine, the things and the potential that they have. And the heights that they can take their career. It's truly an amazing thing, and it's kind of it's a blessing, and it's a gift that we have the ability to feature and highlight these amazing Army officers. And today is no different. This month, like you mentioned, is Women's History Month, so it is no coincidence that we are featuring Army Medicine Reserve Officer Major Jody Stoffer. She is a very talented recruiter and officer in charge of the Kansas City Medical Recruiting Station. And it has been great working with her, and we're excited to hear her story and just, talk together, and let's see what kind of comments come in, and let's just have a great time.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Major Stoffer. She has always worked well with me when I was with Recruiting Command there in the 5th MRB, and I'm very thankful and happy that she's getting a chance to come and talk with us today. So I know typically, we go into, hey, here are some recruiting information that we'd like to put out for you. Do you have anything that you want to put out there to those who may be interested in a career in Army medicine?
So the plug that I would like to give today is, our general Assession requirements for Army medicine, and that is that you have to be physically, morally, and educationally qualified to become an Army medicine officer, whether it's in the reserve or active duty. On the reserve side of the house, you can come in with your green card. If you want to be an active duty officer, you do have to be a United States citizen. As far as the moral factors go, we're not saying that if you've had a ticket in the past or something to that effect that you're not going to be disqualified. It may require a waiver or additional paperwork, but that's something that we can always look into. There'll be background checks and et cetera done that we'll check out. As far as the physically qualified, we have to meet our medical standards. We have to make sure that there are no long-term illnesses, but it's case there are certain qualifications and standards, but if there's something that's happened in the past, our doctors will look into it. They'll look at all your medical records, and we'll just go case by case and see if you require a waiver or not. We have the height and weight requirements, as well as the educational requirements, and you need to have your qualifying degree, whether it's, nursing school plus your experience, or medical school plus your residency. So if you are interested and you are a medical professional of any kind, nurse, doctor, dentist, veterinarian, then please reach out to me at one of the ways below. You can send me a text. You can give me a call and leave a voicemail if I don't answer. You can reach out on LinkedIn. You can follow me on Instagram. All the different ways that you can reach out to get in touch with me. So that's pretty much all I want to cover as far as the general requirements go for Army medicine. But, if you have any questions, we're always looking for high quality medical professionals to serve in the Army and the Army Reserve. And we especially need surgeons and doctors. We have a harder time filling our medical core specialties. So we definitely need amazing individuals that are ready and willing to serve.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for, just the good information regarding anyone who may be interested in being an Army officer, especially a medical officer. And I guess without further ado, this major, this woman, this well-seasoned and well-versed officer that I'd like to introduce to our discussion, Major Jody Stoffer. And without further ado, here she goes. Hi, ma'am. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are y'all? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, good. So I am truly humbled and definitely honored to be able to do this. So let's start. What do y'all want to know about me? And I can tell you about my Army story. I can tell you pretty much anything. Anybody that knows me knows I'm a talker. So you definitely know that.
I got you, ma'am. I mean, I've had the opportunity to interview you a few times in Recruiting Command, and you always gave a riveting, story and history of your military, your Army story. So I'd like to, just open up the floor and just you could tell us.
I'll tell you my Army story.
Tell us from the beginning to now.
Yeah. So way back in boot camp, no, I'm kidding. So we'll talk about how I've been around the Army for a very long time. I have been a wife and I've been a mom and I've been a commander's wife and I did that role first. I did go in the Army when I was in my 30s and I had to get out on a child care plan because being a mom was, more important to me. And I wound up in the IRR. And I was an LPN at the time. So when I went back and got my ADN, the Army had a program in 2008 that you could do a STRAP program in the reserves. And I said, you know what? I didn't finish serving, so I want to go back. So we're just going to pick it up from there. I've been around the Army more than 30 years, but my story starts in 2007 because I got commissioned in 2009. So it starts in 2000 and late 7, early 8 when I worked with an AMED recruiter out of this actual office that I'm in right now in Overland Park, Kansas, which is really cool that, full circle. Here I am recruiting people where I got recruited out of. I was a nurse at the VA working on my BSN online, and I called the AMED recruiter, said, I want to join the Army. What do I need to do? And she says, hey, we got this program called STRAP. They don't have it anymore right now for ADNs to BSNs, but I was able to do that and get my BSN. And then I was put in the 325th Combat Support Hospital in Independence, Missouri, where I was just a butter bar, a second lieutenant, and super excited to serve, happy to put the boots on and see what it meant to be an actual Army nurse. And I had the opportunity right after I graduated with my BSN in March of 2011 to go, I was in the APMC. The APMC is our Army Professional Management Command, where we hold all our doctors and nurses who are still in school and finishing their education. So we have accountability for them. And why I was in an educational situation, the STRAP program, they're the ones who kind of, made sure I stayed in line and I was getting paid and getting my stipend and stuff. And so they sent me straight to BOLIC, Basic Officer Leadership Course, anytime that you get ready to do a leader, get promoted, you have to do your leadership courses. And your first one starts with BOLIC. It's at Fort Sam, Houston. So one little thing about the Army has different places, and different places usually mean, like if you said Fort Benning, I know we train all of our infantrymen there and our Rangers there. If you said Fort Bragg, I know the 82nd is there. If I said Fort Sam Houston, I know all of our medical people are trained there. That's where all our training happens, even for our enlisted soldiers, our LPNs, our medics, dental assistants, all of those are dental hygienists, go there along with our doctors, and we do BOLIC. I went to BOLIC in August. Actually, I got there around July of 2011. It was 4th of July weekend. And I met some wonderful battle buddies that are still serving today. And I reach out to them sometimes because they're in Army medicine. And we did our BOLIC thing, and then I was able to start serving. I tell all of my my future soldiers now, the biggest thing that they talk about is, am I going to have to go to war? What am I going to have to do? What it look like to go to drill kind of thing, battle assembly or drill? They're simultaneously, you use them at the same time kind of thing. And I tell them, you really don't get to go anywhere until you do your basic officer obligation, which is the basic officer leadership course in DCC. We'll talk a little bit about DCC in a minute. So I was able to serve and had a wonderful time at the 325th, had great leaders out there, still able to put people in the 325th now. And I reach out to them on a constant basis. So if you're listening, Captain Harris, thank you so much for your leadership out there, because you've helped me a lot with some SMEs, subject matter experts, that some of our applicants can talk to. I had the opportunity when I was in the 325th to go to Japan, and we did that for a couple of weeks. We did our annual training there, and we did a simulation, and we got to build the hospital and all of that kind of fun stuff. And there is an actual video out there on YouTube, the 325th Combat Support Hospital, and it's Camp Zamba, and it's a wonderful YouTube video that Robert Ham did. He was the videographer from the Army that came out there and did it. And I use it in recruiting all the time. This is what could happen and some of the training that you get to do. And my husband would always say, you're building tents. I was like, yeah, we're building tents. It was like a big old Lego set where we got to put the hospital together. As medical professionals, we always make sure we have one tent that has air conditioning so we can go and chill if we need to and get cooled off. So it's a really wonderful opportunity to know that you built that hospital from literally the inside out. And if you ever go see that video, you'll see how it's kind of laid out. And we were able to do a MASCAL and work with the Air Force and bring in patients, which were our soldiers who were moulaged and, had artificial wounds, and we were able to treat them and bring the Japanese in to show them how we could set up a hospital anywhere in the world. And it doesn't have to be just at war. It can also be humanitarian kind of efforts. So that was a wonderful opportunity. And it definitely got my bug in that I want to, put the boots on more often. Had the opportunity to go to 66 Bravo course, which is our Preventive Medicine course. And I learned all kinds of cool things. I think one of the things I remember the most about the Preventive Medicine school that I went to, we're with a lot of smart officers. We're with our entomologists and our PAs and our audiologists and our environmental science officers. And when I sat down and I was like, oh, these are some really smart officers out here, the science part of it. Preventive med in the Army is wonderful. We're the ones who go out there and we get air samples and soil samples and water samples and see what is actually in the environment before we send our troops out there. As a nurse, we're there to sort of doing, we do lots of inspections and there to help if some kind of like food poisoning happens, and we, try to do entomology or to figure out where it actually started. We had the opportunity, like I was saying, when I was in Japan, there was this igloo cooler hanging from the bamboo. And I was like, that's kind of odd. What is that for? Well, 7 months later, when I wound up going to preventive medicine school, I realized that igloo cooler was an actual vector trap where the entomologist would set up an igloo cooler with CO2 and dried ice, and they had like a little trap at the bottom of it with a fan, and they would capture live vectors like mosquitoes or sandflies, and to see what kind of disease that they actually were carrying, so we knew how to take care of our troops when we sent them wherever we were actually getting the samples from. So I learned a lot in preventive med, and as a nurse on active duty, those 66 Bravos are the ones who do inspections at the daycares on post for the civilian. Like, we have two types of daycares. You'll have a daycare that's a regular, like CDC, a child development center, or you'll have people who are licensed to watch children in their home. So we did inspections in homes, and also we did inspections in the CDCs. We're the ones who run the TB clinics, and we also run the STD clinics. So that was really fun. We were able to work with the health department in San Antonio and we were able to do an assessment of an actual area. And we had that opportunity to, see what that population needed in San Antonio and work with the actual health department. So that was one thing I got to do in the Army. And it was a 2-month course in San Antonio. I was on active duty for those 2 months, and that really got my bug going. So then there's an opportunity out there called MOB COP, or MOB tours, and tour duty, active duty operations support. And we reservists can put in an application, apply for a job, and go on orders for at least 1,095 days, which is 3 years. And then be like, we're extra people, for the active duty. And I worked in the WTUs, which is the Warrior Transition Battalions, and I was a nurse case manager. So they sent me to nurse case manager school. My 1,095 days were coming up really quick, and I had an opportunity to apply for AGR, Active Guard Reserve. And what that means is, in our actual TPUs, our troop performing units, where our battle assemblies are held in the reserve units, they have to be able to sustain operations all the time. They can't just come 1 weekend a month and just open up and say, okay, let's start drilling. There's got to be a green suiter and some civilians that sustain operations while that month is going on to prepare for battle assemblies and make sure that the reserves are ready. Well, AGRs, Active Guard Reserves, are the ones who fill that position. So I applied for AGR and got picked up. And my first tour was in Houston, Texas with AMED Recruiting. So I did that for 3 years. And then my husband is here. And so in Kansas City, so I was able to come here and do recruiting 3 more years. So now my next job should be at a TPU, at a reserve unit, medical readiness officer. So my career has been awesome. I've been able to go to preventive medicine school, to be a 66, public health nurse. And that also gave me credits at Texas A&M towards my graduate degree. I've been able to do master resiliency training. I've done OIC training. I've done recruiting school. I have had this opportunity that I wouldn't had if I'd have just stayed at a hospital taking care of patients. And I do miss patient care, but also, the Army has challenged me, got me out of my comfort zone. And that's where growth always happens, is outside your comfort zone. So now let me talk a little bit about my family. So like I said, I've been around the military for more than 30 years, and I've been a wife and a mom. 3 of my boys, men, they're not boys, 3 of my boys serve, and we have a medical service officer and an infantry officer. And then I have 2 daughter-in-laws that serve. One's a medic and one's a PA. She did the IPAP program within the Army, and that's a wonderful program as well. And then I have a son who is out in the West Coast, and he supports us all. We have a beautiful granddaughter who is Caroline. She's like 2, and she doesn't know anything about the Army yet, but when she's old enough to understand, I'll probably try to recruit her as well. And then my husband is retired military, and he teaches CGSC or ILE, Command and General Staff School at Leavenworth, and that's where majors go to do their leadership course. So other than that, I mean, if you have any questions, one thing that I think they wanted to bring out is you're never too old to serve, especially in Army medicine. Our Army medicine medical department is broken down into 6 corps. We have Medical Corps, Dental Corps, Veterinarian Core, Specialist Corps, which are OTs, PTs, PAs, and dietitian, Nurse Corps, and then Medical Service Corps. Our service corps is all our ancillary people, like our audiologists, chemists, our radiological people, environmental science officers, optometrists. So we have like probably about 25 to 30 jobs in that area. So we have, that's who we recruit for. We recruit for over 104 positions. Just like Captain Weaver was saying, you have to have a degree that qualifies you. One thing I like to talk about when I talk to people in the Army that are interested in the Army, there's 3 ways to get your commission. Your first way is most traditional, West Point or ROTC. Your second way is going to be, hey, I have a degree, but not a skill set that goes with that degree. Want to be an officer? Go see your enlisted recruiter, the NPS side, the non-professional service, and they can put you through OCS. And the third way is your direct commission, and that would be us. We have a skill set that we want to, that the Army wants to give you a commission for. Your commission is determined by your actual degree. So if you have a bachelor's degree, you'll be a second lieutenant. First lieutenant is going to be master's. A doctorate is going to be a captain. And then they go off of constructive credit. So say if I was a nurse practitioner and I'd been a nurse practitioner for 6 years and I had my master's, that would give me first lieutenant plus 6 years. I'd probably go in as a captain. And then they give you that constructive credit. When we talked a little bit about BOLIC, Basic Officer Leadership Course, we also need to talk about DCC, Direct Commissioning Course. Our officers go in with a lot of rank, but no experience. So we've learned through AMED that we need to send them to direct commissioning course. And that's where they get to learn some history and tradition about the Army and how to march and how to do PT and how to wear the uniform before they go off to basic officer leadership course. So that pretty much is my Army story in a nutshell. I love the Army. I am definitely an extrovert. And I can talk about the Army all day long. So how did that go? I didn't tell too much too fast, did I? So Otis, y'all are like muted. Are y'all muted? There you are, Otis. Okay.
Oh, no. I think that was a great summary, really, of the things that you've done. More than anything, I think people can actually look back and say, hey, that could be me. I could do exactly what she's done. And,
Absolutely.
You know, people are already asking questions and leaving comments already on the side. So maybe we could pull up some of those questions and comments on the side, and Captain Weaver could jump into her question when we get a chance. So let's go ahead and show some of these comments that we see here. We see one from a John Remesio.
Everybody's frozen. Oh no.
And John Remesio says, hold on, let's go ahead and post it. Bam. Right there. It says,
uh-oh.
Otis, did you mute yourself? We can't hear you.
Okay, do y'all hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Sorry about that. I think when people call me on my personal cell, it kind of throws the audio off on the screen, but we're still rocking and rolling. So let's go ahead and pull up some more comments. And actually, there's a question that I see on here, and either one of you can answer this question. So, John, thank you for your comment. So the question is, it comes from a Michael Lozano. He asks, will the Army still offer a STRAP ADN to a BSN program?
So you want me to take that one, Captain Weaver?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
So Unfortunately, we do not do the ADN to BSN right now. You have to have a BSN, but if you do have an ADN and you're already working as a nurse, that counts as experience, which is very, very important right now because we're taking experienced nurses. So continue to get your BSN. What I would say where to focus on, Michael, if you're working ICU, ER, or OR. When I say OR, I don't mean pre-op or PACU. I mean like in the OR scrubbing or even doing some circulating. That's where the Army is really focusing on in the next couple of years for the reserves on those 3 areas of concentration. So if you're almost done with your BSN, as soon as you get done with your BSN, then just get a hold of an AMED recruiter. And then that ADN does count for experience, which will be very important to you. I hope that answers your question, Michael.
Awesome. And I think the next question that I'd like to jump into, and Captain Weaver, you could go ahead and take this question. The question, it's in regards to the pride in the patch comment I see here. And here it is. My pride in the patch stems from waking up every day, having the privilege to serve Army medicine as MedCom Deputy G3257. Okay, that's Mr. Remesio. He says, I'm excited about helping create opportunities to recruit, train, and equip our talented medical professionals through our efforts such as MILSIF partnerships that our Surgeon General has to grow, build medical skills sustainment platforms. Army medicine is Army strong. Keep up the good work. Do you all know anything in regards to the MILSIF connection that we've got going on that the Army has?
I mean, we have several partnerships, like in USAR and with different hospitals. Major Stoafer can talk more about the different partnerships. There's a Patriot partnership that we have with the HCA hospitals, that just helps us get into the door with these big hospital corporations to be able to do presentations and provide didactic lectures and, be able to get in front of the residents to talk to them about opportunities within the Army Reserve. So that is definitely one partnership that is on the recruiting side, that's a military civilian partnership that helps us out in AMED recruiting. Major Stoafer, do you have anything to add?
I do. I don't know if John's actually talking about like a MILSIV, meaning that there's a lot of reservists sometimes that work as MilTechs in the actual unit. They might work in the S3 shop, which is our, or the S1 shop on top of being a soldier. You know what I mean? So they'll do drill weekends. So he might be talking about that, but that is also in the reserves. You can work as a civilian contractor or work for the Army and then still be in the Army.
Okay, thank you very much, John. I see a question here that either one of you I could go ahead and, well, both of you could actually answer. So here it is right here. And I will take myself off of it. So the question is, how does it work for early commissioned officers? Let's get an answer from you both. So go ahead and start it off, Captain.
I will say, Otis, that when you put your headphones back on, at least on my end, there was a pretty bad draw out of your voice. So I don't know if maybe it's just better not to have the headset, but something to check out. How does it work for early commission officers? I guess I'm not really quite sure what Terrell is asking here. If he could further elaborate what he means, or if Major Stoafer, you know what he's talking about. But it's a little too vague to be able to answer his question.
Yeah, that's how I was looking at it as well. What do you mean, Terrell, about the actual early commission officer? And are you talking about in an active duty setting or an actual reserve setting? Please elaborate a little bit, and we'll be glad to answer your question.
That makes sense. Thank you for the tip there. I took the headphones off. Maybe the audio will be better this time. Much better, much better. So we got a good question here from Mr. Dustin Humphrey. He asks, will prior enlisted be required to attend DCC?
So the most recent that I heard is that they are for like AECP, the Army Enlisted candidate program. They're starting to waive the DCC requirement because of COVID. They're looking at making it a permanent change. But in the past, right before COVID-19 came, and changed our lives, it was required for prior enlisted to go to DCC. But from a teleconference that I was on recently, they said that they are looking to make that change a permanent one, that prior enlisted will not have to go to DCC. Major Stoafer, do you have anything to add?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. You're correct. Right now, like you said, from COVID, they are wavering the enlisted to not have to go. So I hope that helps. So Dustin, I hope you got picked up for commissioning.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you for your question there, Dustin. We have a comment coming in from YouTube. So let's go ahead and post that comment. The comment is, this Major rocks. Oh, do you know Ben?
I do know Dr. Zivney, Major Zivney, and he has done great things for even 5th medical recruiting. The thing I didn't really touch on with recruiting is future soldiers. Man, I love future soldiers. There's nothing like taking a future soldier who's been board selected down to clothing and sales and have them put that uniform on for the first time. And I appreciate that, Major Zivney, and he's done great things too. And you're right, you're never too old to serve. And you know what, Major Zivney, I'm going to do a shout out to you because he just did flight surgeon school down in Fort Rucker. And hua to you. And like I said, it was a challenge because he's not quite my age, but he was not with the 20-year-olds, but he did a great job and he completed it. And that was one of his goals. He's an OBGYN out in Texas, College Station. If you need an OBGYN, he's got a great bedside manner and he also serves this country. Thank you, Major Zivney.
All right, excellent. He said, hey, never too old to serve. Never too old to serve. If you want to serve, there's always an opportunity for you to serve in the military, especially with Army medicine, to echo Captain Weaver's comment from earlier. And we have actually a follow-up comment here from Mr. Humphrey. He said, I did, ma'am, direct commission. This is 6 year active duty. Thank you.
Yay!
Awesome.
Okay. Big time. Congratulations.
Let me ask both of you all. Can you all kind of reach back and think of some success stories as far as in your recruiting journeys, people that, had doubts in the beginning and are now flourishing in their Army medicine careers?
I have one that,
yeah, go ahead.
I think we both probably have a lot of stories that just come to mind immediately. Definitely one that just sticks out right away is First Lieutenant Duff. She is an active duty social worker, and I had been working with her for a while, and she had some doubts. She had reservations about the process. We worked through all of those, and she still decided, I'm going to apply. I'm going to go for it. I feel like I will regret it if I don't try. So she applied, put her best foot forward, and was selected. And now, she's at her first duty station. And when she was at direct commission course in Bullock, she was a platoon leader, and she did amazing things for her platoon. She put herself out there. She did the leadership positions with no prior service, and just, did a great job. And she's continuing to do great things. So I know that we'll continue to see more amazing things from her in the future. But I'll kick it over to Major Stoafer for her stories as well.
So I have several, but I do want to talk a little bit about one, and that was Captain Alongo, and he was a very hard worker. When I was a young recruiter, I say young, meaning like when I first got into USAR, the first thing that we make sure is that your CV is approved and that you are physically qualified. Those are the two things that we know that you got to be done, and then we do all the board packets, and it takes a while to build your packet and all that stuff. And you go to the board. What I learned from Captain Alongo, which he's a dentist in the reserves in Texas, is that I didn't look at his LORs, his letters of recommendation, and his letter of motivation very good. Like, we just sort of pushed it up. Let me tell you, for people who are out there and you're getting your board packet ready, that is what not sells the board, but that is what is your advocate for the board. You have to make sure you have strong LORs, letters of recommendation, and strong letter of motivation. Your recruiter is not doing you any justice, like I did not do him any justice, if you do not sit down with him and make sure that that actually is a good letter of recommendation or motivation. With Captain Alongo, it's kind of interesting. As a recruiter, we get to work with wonderful professionals and we get to know them. And we know if they're going to be a good Army officer or not. We can just tell it because we've been around the Army a while. With him, I knew he was going to be awesome, going to knock it out of the ballpark. But the board didn't see it the same way the first time around. They're like, you know what? He's a no-go. I'm like, what? How can my applicant be a no-go? How did that happen? And I saw that I failed my applicant because we did not put in good letters of recommendation. We didn't pick the right people. So I looked at Captain Alongo. He wasn't Captain Alongo at the time. And I said, you know what? I said, if you trust me to do it one more time, let's go back to the board next year and let's do it the right way. And we did, and we made sure those letters of recommendation were awesome, and that letter of motivation was awesome. English is not his first language, so that's something that we definitely helped him with, and he got picked up, and all he could say is, thank you, Captain Jody. And, all he would call me is Captain Jody, and that was one of my biggest ones because I learned a lot from him. And so, yeah, I have a lot of future officers out there, or officers out there now that are serving. And one quick story is when I was finishing up Houston, I went to the unit down in San Antonio, and I looked in that formation and knew that I put 8 officers. I had touched the lives of eight officers in my 3 years in Houston in that unit. And that was just one unit. And I was like, wow. And I went there in civilian clothes, which I thought was kind of cool. Everybody was in uniform and I was in civilian clothes because I was getting ready to travel. So that's one of my stories.
Excellent, excellent. I see the smile. I see almost the twinkle in each of your eyes. When you think about and you kind of recall the stories of people that you've put in service and who are now serving our country patriotically, of course. I see a question coming in that you both, actually, how about this? I will go with Captain Weaver with this question. And the question is, here you go. I'm not sure if you already addressed this or answered this. I just jump on. How do I find an AMED branch manager? I'm a 72 Delta reservist.
Okay, Major Stoafer, I'm going to need you to back me up on this. For active duty, we go on HRC and it's listed on our branch page. Is it the same thing for the Army Reserve?
No, ours is not that easy. So a 72 Delta. So what I can do is if you get in hold of Captain Weaver, she then email her and then she'll email me and I'll help you find that person for you. Okay, your branch manager. I'll get you taken care of.
We'll get you connected. We'll make sure we get you taken care of.
All righty.
Excellent.
Otis.
Excellent. See, you both took it and you both knocked it off. Too easy.
Yeah.
What's up, Captain Weaver?
So, as Major Stoafer has been talking about, her applicants, her future soldiers, and now officers, it has kind of made me reflect on something special that Major Stoafer does at every single commissioning. And
I have it here too.
So I would like to just, have her talk about what this special thing she does for all of the soldiers that she commissions. If she could explain it, tell us, what does she do? Why does she do it? And I would also like to know, how many have you given out, if you know?
All right.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't even know. So, us as officers, we have the opportunity to raise our right hand and have somebody else raise our right hand, and we give the oath of office. And that is right, like that. That is special to be able to do that. And I'm going to take this back to Texas because when I actually put in a 66 Tango out of Bentah, Erin, I went to her commissioning. And what I do when it's time for your commissioning, I want to make sure it's your commissioning. You want to do it wherever you want to do it. I want it to be special for you. If you know an officer that has already served and retired or is serving, they can do your commissioning for you. We don't have to do the oath. We're there to just support you. So with her, we went to her, the CEO of Bentah was actually a retired colonel, medical service officer, and he actually did her commissioning. And he brought it to Erin's attention. He said, Erin, have you read the Constitution of the United States? And she said, some, sir. He said, well, I suggest you do it because you know what? You're about to take an oath to protect and defend this Constitution or protect and support the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And so that gave me an idea. Why don't I do that? Why don't I talk about that? This is what our country is founded on right here. And as we know, it's being tested every day on the streets of America. And so I had them, raise their right hand and let them know that this is the oath. And I give everybody a pocket constitution to carry with them. And we also, what I'll do is I'll have them actually write their date of oath, their first date of oath, their name, and then the officer that gave them. So I'm hoping, because each time that we get promoted, we actually we reaffirm the oath. And I hope they will go in and write each time that they get promoted to the next rank. But that's something that I do, and I hold it dear to my heart. I don't know how many I've given out, but I've given out a lot of constitutions. So thank you for bringing that little thing up too. I appreciate that, Captain Weaver.
Absolutely. It's such a great story, and I think, our viewers out there would appreciate, hearing that, and just knowing, the extra, attention and energy that you put into these commissioning ceremonies. I just think it's really awesome. Something I do is, I have a leadership book that is my favorite leadership book, and it's The Way of the Shepherd. And I have my own copy, and the folks that I commission, I have them sign my copy so I can remember, their beginning. I was a part of the beginning of their Army story, and then I give them a copy of their own. And, my advice is just read this book. If you follow these principles, you're not going to go wrong as a leader. And, I think we all have our own individual leadership styles and different things that we do as leaders. But I think that if you have the passion and, you strive to make that connection with others, it doesn't matter if you do the pocket constitution or you do a book. What matters is that you're passionate about what you do. And I know all three of us here, we're all passionate about what we do. And that's what makes the difference.
Yeah. You brought up a good point that it does start with your recruiter. Your recruiter, what I do with, especially in Nurse Corps, and Dustin, this goes out to you too. If you want to reach out to us and you need us to help, mentor you a little bit, with Nurse Corps, we can do that. As soon as they've signed that contract and raised that hand, and I know they got orders, they become my first battle buddy. I am their first battle buddy, and I still have soldiers calling me to help mentor them, because that's where it starts. Mentorship starts with you. Now, maybe not your recruiter, but someone that is in the field that can help you and sort of understand the Army life and stuff. So that's very important. And I had the opportunity earlier to tell you that I was an actual nurse case manager at the Warrior Transition Battalion. So my career has sort of had the opportunity to see careers die, which is sad. Some people were wanting to get out, and some people were not ready to quit serving. And then I've had the opportunity to see careers begin the journey. So I've seen the beginning of journeys, and I've seen the end, and it's kind of like nursing, birth and a death. And so I, unlike Captain Weaver, will probably never go back to the bedside as an AGR nurse. Captain Weaver will go back to the bedside, because this is her, she'll talk a little bit about that. So only thing that if I could encourage anybody out there and you're thinking about it and you're under 42, go active duty. Just go active duty, at least for 3 years. So you have that underneath you. So, but yeah, sorry, I got on a little tangent there. Sorry about that. But Captain Weaver, you might want to talk a little bit about doing a broadening assignment in Army Nurse Corps.
Absolutely. It's an amazing and phenomenal opportunity if you are an Army Nurse Corps officer. And, we can't, not talk about the other branches as well. If you have the opportunity, let's say you're a doctor, you're a physical therapist, you're a dietitian, and you have the opportunity for a command, take it. Don't hesitate. If they say, would you like to interview? Or if you hear of an opportunity to interview, this opportunity might not come back again. You don't know, what tomorrow will hold. So if you have the opportunity to lead soldiers, take it. Being a company commander was one of the most rewarding and privileging experiences. And, also being a healthcare recruiter was very rewarding as well. And then after this, like Major Stoafer said, I will go back to the bedside, continue being a nurse. And then throughout my career, I just have other additional opportunities to, do other things in leadership, and definitely being an Army officer and being a nurse corps officer on active duty. It's been a blast, and it's been really great, both, for me and my family.
Otis, I know that Captain Weaver didn't touch on this, but she just got selected to go to the 66 Sierra, 66 Tango course in April when she leaves here, which is awesome because that'll give her the identifier. She's going to Tango school, which means ER, trauma, Tango. And she'll do that 4-month course in San Antonio. It'll be a very intense course. And then she'll get to sit for her certification in ER, which she'll go be an ER nurse. How awesome is that?
Excellent, excellent. Captain Weaver, she doesn't really like talking about herself that much, and I think that's a good thing. That's a cool thing. I appreciate that. But let me try to transition into something else. And I noticed that you both are very passionate about your jobs, passionate about your careers, passionate about your family as well. But I want to know about passionate as far as who you represent and that pride that you have. That pride in the patch. Let's go ahead and bring that up as a banner right here. Let's talk about the pride in the patch that you both have serving as Army nurses, and what is what are the most gratifying things? What are some of the most tough things? And what is something that you would tell someone who potentially wants to be an Army nurse? Who wants to go first?
You can go ahead, Cat Weaver.
All right, my pride in the patch, there are so many reasons, but I just think, working with the amazing people in Army medicine, that is a huge reason why I have pride in the patch. Having the opportunity to make connections with other Army nurses, Army doctors, and the civilians on our team as well. I know throughout this whole discussion we've been talking about, it's never too late to serve in Army medicine. At some point, we may not be able to put you in, depending on your age and stuff like that. But there are still opportunities that you could be a government employee, a civilian GS employee, as we call them, and, like a nurse or a medical professional working with Army medicine. So that's still a part of our Army medicine team. And there is no age limit on that. So, as we've said, if you want to serve, there is a capacity for you to serve. You just have to seek it out. But so I would say, first and foremost, just my teammates on the Army medicine team is, pride in the patch. And then just, seeing it in my children's eyes of how proud they are that I'm a nurse in the Army. And especially, my 2 older ones, they're starting to understand and grasp the concept of what service means, and the fact that they're just so proud of their mom, just really continues to that feeling of growing, just so I'm so proud to be an Army nurse. And I especially feel even more proud when my young children, are just so proud of their mom.
Oh, is it my turn? I said proud in the patch. Or pride in the patch. So we have several patches on. I have my name, or my name in the Army. And when I get ready to take new future soldiers to actually get their uniforms, I always tell them that your United States Army is going to go over your heart, just like if you're doing the Pledge of Allegiance. So that's the patch I'm very proud of, the United States Army. And your flag, this is the one I'm very proud of, because this is the one that tells me that I'm an American soldier. Today is my day to be an American soldier, an Army nurse. Many have come before me. Many will come after me. But today I'm going to serve my country and be the 1% that has decided to raise their right hand. And that's what I tell them. Your patch, your right, the flag goes on your right hand because you're going to raise it for that oath for the United States Army. And then I'm just proud to serve. I wish there was something that said that I was Army nurse on here. There's nothing that says I'm Army nurse on here. People don't know. But what I like to tell them when I see young girls and they say, oh, look, it's a soldier. I like to tell them that, you know what? I'm a soldier and I'm also an Army nurse. So they know that there are opportunities for young ladies or men who want to go into the medical field, that we're not just soldiers where we can, go protect our company, our country, but we're also soldiers that will take care of the ones, our war fighters that go out there every day and do protect us. So those are the patches I'm proud of. I do have my recruiting patch too. So I'm super proud of that. I wish I had some HUA kind of patches above my U.S. Army that said I was airborne and all that, but I didn't get that opportunity. So.
And it's all good because you didn't serve any less, I would say. Mm-hmm. We're all part of one team. I as a civilian, former officer myself, I had the great opportunity to lead soldiers. I had a great opportunity to serve as a medic in combat. I had a great opportunity being part of Army medicine. And more than anything, Army medicine is so wide-spanning. You don't have to be a nurse to serve in Army medicine. Do you all want to talk about that? But right before we go into that, let's go ahead and post some of these comments, okay? So the first comment I see here comes from Andrew Ingalls. He said, I definitely appreciate this statement to me as well during my process. I switched out a LOR to a day before board submission for this reason. Thank you for that comment. And he says,
hey, Andrew,
as a follow-up, you all made this first part of the process so much better. Having the connections created early and having the support got me through a couple of unanticipated hurdles. Amazing people.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew. We appreciate that for sure. It's been great working with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm sure Andrew is appreciative of that as well. Back to my earlier question that I was bringing today. Who wants to go ahead and address that first?
Can you say what was the question again? Sorry, I got carried away with the comments.
It's all right. How about this? Let's talk about working in Army medicine and the various careers that there are, not just being only a nurse, but you can be someone all the way from an anesthesiologist to a zoologist, really in Army medicine. Can you talk about certain MOSs that, people could possibly really get into that they never really thought, oh, the Army needs that? I'm that. I could definitely come and be part of this Army medicine family. Who wants to do that first? Who wants to address that first?
I'll let Major Stoafer take this one.
Yep. As I said earlier, and in my Army story, that Army medicine is broken down into 6 corps. We have medical corps. We have, like he said, anesthesiologists, general surgeons, actual orthopedic docs, OBGYNs. We need all kinds of docs. And if you're ready to serve, we definitely are looking for you. Even if you want to do part-time reserves, if you want to talk to some of our docs who are actually serving reserve, we'll get you for that. We have dental corps. And then we have the Veterinarian Core. And I don't know if people know that our Veterinarian Core, they take care of our service animals out there, our working dogs, but they also do inspection on our meat, which is very important. And then we have the Specialist Core. That was the OTs, occupational therapists. We have physical therapists. We have PAs and dietitians. And then we have our Nurse Corps, which is 10 different AOCs, areas of concentration. And then we talked about our Medical Service Corps. Our Medical Service Corps were our audiologists and our clinical lab people. If you got a master's degree, your clinical lab, a big one we need is 70 Delta, which is going to be IT. If you can do IT, if you're working at Cerner or, a place out there that's doing a lot of IT stuff and you have that master's degree for IT, we're looking for you. We can put you in the reserves for that. We have environmental science officers. I talked a little bit about that already. We have optometrists. Ophthalmologists, we go with our medical service corps, or our medical corps, but medical service corps is optometrist. And then entomologists, bug doctors. You like bugs? You want to do some research on some bugs and some mosquitoes? We got that. We got a job for you there. So does that kind of answer your question?
I think that answers the question very much so. More than anything, let's talk about mentorship. Let's speak about some mentors that you guys have had, you officers have had in your medical service time. Can you think of one mentor that stood out from the rest in your entire Army medicine career that has helped shape you into the officer that you are today? Captain Weaver, go ahead and start.
It's hard for me to narrow down to one. So I'm going to just say two: Colonel McDougall and Colonel Rodandi. Both have been phenomenal officers and just great people that I have been able to continue to stay in touch with throughout my career, that have helped me, propel myself into a trajectory of success, and just continuing to support me, and just being, a person that I can bounce ideas off of, that I can bring situations to, and they can help provide clarity on. To be honest, I don't know where I would be in my career without their support and guidance. So huge shout out and thank you to both Colonel Rodandi and Colonel McDougall. I really appreciate them. And, I talk to them, almost at least monthly, and they're phenomenal people, phenomenal mentors, and great leaders in the Army.
Okay. And Major Stoafer.
So one that comes to my mind, I have several, just like Captain Weaver does, is Major Bowser. She's at APMC right now, but I remember Major Bowser when I was a young butter bar, and she was like a first lieutenant. She's a little bit ahead of me in the rank system, but she just had that squared away type of officer that she just knew how to do things. And even today, I'll still reach out to her, and I was like, okay, how do I do that NCOR? Because I've never really done an NCOR. So shout out to her, Major Lynn Bowser. That's who I'm going to call out. So thank you, ma'am.
Excellent. And so I guess in closing, because we're almost at that hour mark, I'd like to, have you all kind of think of moving forward, and where do you see your careers going? Your opportunities to mentor future officers, your possibilities as far as career advancement. Where do you see your careers going?
I'll let Major Stoafer go first on this one, since she's okay.
I'll start. Thank you. So my career will probably stop at Lieutenant Colonel because I'm going to run out of years. The Army will only allow me to stay in the Army till I'm about 62. So my biggest goal is, I'll be 55 this year. And so my biggest goal is to be able to make it physically and mentally till I'm 61, 62. So I'll have at least 15 years of good AGR time, and then 5 years of reserve time. So that's my goal. And like I said, I will go to an actual TPU, a troop performing unit, next time, to a reserve unit. And hopefully I'll be able to mentor some young lieutenants. And whether they're in the nurse corps or not, it doesn't matter to me. I like to mentor them anyway. But my biggest hurdle, which I'm going to go to this summer, is ILE, which is Intermediate Leadership Education, CGSE. A little nervous about that. I have the opportunity to go to the reserve course where you do phase 1, and I do it for 2 weeks in June. And then I go phase 2 for 8 months. You do that like 1 week in a month, and then you do phase 3. So that's going to be one of my biggest hurdles. So I can hopefully make Lieutenant Colonel when I'm 58. Oh, so that's my goal.
Okay. And Captain Weaver.
Put me on the spot and hit me in the feels right there, Otis. I am about 8.5 years in, and I know that I want to serve at least 20 years. I basically made the decision that I was going to be a career officer when the blended retirement system came about. And because I had been in for several years already, we had the opportunity to either opt in to the blended retirement system or stay with the legacy retirement system. For me, I knew that I was committed and wanted to continue my service, so I stayed with the legacy retirement system. So I'm fully fledged committed on, continuing my service, not only because of the retirement, but because it's my passion and it's what I love to do. My family supports my service, and the Army has been awesome to my family. And, at the age of 32, I have been able to be a med-surg nurse, a labor and delivery nurse, a clinical nurse officer in charge, company commander, and an AMED recruiter. All of these different opportunities and experiences that I've had, whereas if I was a civilian nurse, I'd probably be working at the same unit at the bedside, making around the same amount of money that I did when I started. So it's just the amount of different experiences that you have. I continue to strive to do better and to continue to learn. And, I don't know exactly where my path is going to take me, but, next April, like Major Stoafer mentioned, I'll be going to the 66 Tango emergency room course, and I'm excited to see to push myself in that area, to learn clinically, to grow as a nurse and a leader, and then just continue to seek out awesome opportunities and to just go from there. One thing that has really been amazing the past couple months is, on a whim, I decided to start an Army Nurse Corps mentorship group. There wasn't one out there. I started one on Facebook, and now I think there's about 2,700 members. And every day people are posting, inspirational things, asking questions, seeking out information. And it's just been a great sharing resource for all Army Nurse Corps officers, past and present. And, more than anything, it just reaffirms why I love to serve and why I want to continue to serve. And I think that's just been a real blessing, especially in such a hard time in a lot of our lives, that it has created a lot of connection and bringing the Army Nurse Corps together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think more than anything, working together, we have kind of knocked off another successful podcast. And I want to thank you both for participating today, especially you, Major Stoafer. Thank you for coming and just sharing your Army story, sharing some inspiration, sharing some, personal stories, and of course, contacts that people may be looking for. I see we have a few more comments on here, so I'll go ahead and post it. Here's this comment right here. It says, "So grateful to be part of that group." That is that nursing group that Captain Weaver mentioned, and I really appreciate that she has done that. I'm an admin in that group as well, so we live stream right into that group. So folks could see the different products that we have coming out, especially these live streams, which are very helpful.
Hey, Otis, I want to congratulate this young lady, because I don't personally know her, but I have been in contact with her. She just got picked up for 66 Tango active duty, and she's 40, and her husband already serves. And just hang in there. Your scroll is coming down. We got you, Alana. Your scroll is coming down. So yeah,
congratulations.
Congratulations.
That's awesome.
Alana. Definitely.
Yeah.
So I guess in closing, team, I want to say, hold on, let me close that off. I want to say thank you for joining me on the discussion today, and it is absolutely always fun when I get a chance to talk to you both, and looking forward to more podcasts and more live streams with you both if you'd like to.
Yeah. Hey, one thing, Otis, I want to tell the audience out there, hey, if you hear it right here in your heart that you want to serve, you got to do it, man, because that means it's your time to serve. So like I said, don't wait too long. Listen to what your body is telling you, your heart and soul is telling you, because there's nothing like serving your country and wearing this uniform. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Hang out in the broadcast room, you both, and we will talk for a little bit, okay?
Okay, cool. Thank you. Bye.
All right. And so we had another successful podcast there with the team up in Army Medicine there in the 5th Medical Recruiting Battalion at Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio, Texas. And of course, the team that's coming out of the Kansas City Medical Recruiting Station there. Army Medicine is so wonderful. So many opportunities for you to serve, even if you're an older medical professional, even if you want a chance to, learn more, go to college, get the training, get the benefits, get the opportunity to serve your country. The opportunity is there. All you got to do is just look at that point of contact on the bottom there, get in contact with Captain Weaver, send me a message, and I'll forward you in the right direction, as always. And of course, as we always say in closing, Army Medicine is Army Strong. Take care now. Bye.